Welcome to this instructional strategy that defines Collaborize Classroom. Collaborize Classroom can be used for teachers, students, and parents to reach the ultimate goal of student learning. Collaborize Classroom is a free online learning platform for teachers and students to create structured discussions in a private online community. Students can expand on discussions as well as interact with online lesson plans that allow for deeper participation inside and outside of the classroom. Objectives: to use Collaborize Classroom to spark discussion for students who may otherwise not participate in an activity. By giving students a sense of ownership and responsibility, you may be able to change the student's behavior. The utilization of a discussion board will permit you to provide feedback and assessment. The utilization of a discussion board can hold parents responsible for their child's learning. In this video, a teacher will describe her experience using Collaborize Classroom.
My name is Catlin Tucker, and I teach 9th and 10th grade English. I currently have 164 students, and this is my second school year using Collaborize Classroom. I've used it to complement my in-class instruction, and it's been a really wonderful way to engage students in discussions that just weren't happening in the classroom. So class discussions tend to be dominated by 5 to 7 students. The same kids talk, the same kids don't speak at all, and so I decided to just try the product and see what the results were. And the first night I launched my first question, some of my quietest students, the students who never say anything, were the first to post responses, and they were quality responses, which was a selling point right off the bat for me, that kids would engage, and they obviously want a voice and for whatever reason don't feel comfortable, sharing their ideas and asking questions in class. So I started initially using it as a complement to the reading. So I would post questions, reading comprehension questions, analysis questions, synthesis questions, and pose them to the class. They would engage in online discussions, and I actually chose not to be an active participant in that, and let them have their discussions without filtering them through me. And it was amazing the kinds of insights and the kinds of points they were pulling out. We actually started with Canterbury Tales, which is a really challenging text, a really meaty text, and what they were able to, bring out of the text and the points that they were making were just not, I wasn't seeing that kind of quality in class. So since then, I've branched out from using it as an online discussion for reading comprehension and kind of a complement to the text they're reading at home. And now we do icebreakers online, so we've been able to kind of facilitate online community, things I just don't have the luxury of time for in class. So I also have used it for creative writing prompts, where they do short creative writing pieces, respond to each other, get peer feedback, create final drafts and turn them into me, which are stronger than final drafts I was seeing in the past because they have the luxury of each other's feedback. I think for students, it's really natural to have conversations online. For most of them, they're on Facebook and MySpace, and this is the medium where they're really communicating the most, and email. And so to be able to have conversations online, I think, is just a natural way for them to engage with their peers, more so than obviously my generation.
This next video is a discussion between a teacher and a parent. And if you can please listen to the discussion and see how you would think it would go if Collaborize Classroom was implemented in the teacher's classroom. The conversation could possibly be much different. Take a look.
Good morning, Mrs. Smith. I'm so glad you could make it today. It seems your son Timmy is having some trouble in my class. He has been placed in school suspension 3 times this semester, and he is now failing. We need to come up with a plan to help Timmy be more successful in school. You're the teacher. Why don't you come up with a plan on your own? Mrs. Smith, I can only help Timmy while he is here at school. I need you to help by following through with the plan at home. Timmy doesn't get in trouble at home. He only has problems at school. You hate him. You're out to get my son. Mrs. Smith, that simply isn't true. I treat your son fairly, just as I treat all of my other students. Timmy told me that you pick on him because he doesn't turn in his homework. That isn't exactly true. I asked Timmy why he wasn't doing his homework. I wanted to know if he needed help with the assignments. He needs extra time. Timmy has a learning disability. I think he's dyslexic. He has ADD. He has ADHD. He has an autism spectrum disorder. He sees a psychiatrist. He has a 504 plan. It's all in his 504 plan. I'm very surprised to hear that Timmy has so many difficulties. There is nothing in his cumulative file to suggest that he needs special education services. Perhaps we should have him tested by our school's diagnostician. No. I want him tested for GT. He's very, very smart. He's a genius. He is definitely gifted. Timmy has never received a grade higher than a C. He isn't passing in any subject. He is only reading on a first grade level. He is in 5th grade, and he can barely recognize basic sight words. He's bored. He doesn't do his work because he's a super genius, and he's bored. He needs to be challenged. All right, Mrs. Smith. I will refer Timmy to our gifted and talented specialist for testing. In the meantime, what can we do to help Timmy bring his grades up? I want you to tutor him. He needs extra help. I would be happy to tutor Timmy. I have tutoring groups after school on Mondays and Wednesdays. Timmy is welcome to come either day. No. Timmy is busy then. He plays soccer, and football, and baseball, and basketball, and he is on the swim team and the tennis team, and he rides horses competitively. Perhaps it would be best if Timmy gave up some of his after-school activities until he brings his grades up. After all, what is more important? Playing sports or passing the 5th grade? Why, oh, you don't understand. Timmy plays select soccer. He's good. He's really, really good. He had his picture in the paper. I have the clipping in my purse, if you want to see it. Well then, perhaps I could tutor Timmy during recess. He could stay in with me 1 or 2 days a week, until his grades improve. No. Timmy has to go outside. He has to play with his friends. If he doesn't play outside, he has panic attacks. It's all in his 504 plan. Did you read it? It's all in there. He has to have recess. Mrs. Smith, I'm not sure what you want me to do. It's your fault that he's failing. You aren't teaching him right. I talked to all of the other parents, and they say you teach differently than the other teachers. If you taught the way they teach, he would be passing. I'm very surprised to hear that. Especially since all of the 5th grade teachers plan our lessons together. Timmy says you make it too hard on purpose. You make him learn too much. Mrs. Smith, I teach the curriculum given to me by the state. I only teach the material that the students are required by law to know. Are you calling Timmy a liar? He would never lie to me. If he says you are making it too hard, then it's true. He always tells the truth. You're the liar. It seems that our conference is not being very productive, Mrs. Smith. Perhaps it would be best if we rescheduled for a time when an administrator can be present. No, that won't be necessary. I'm going to the principal to complain about you right now. I'm going to tell her what a horrible teacher you are and how you won't tutor Timmy. I'm a taxpayer. I pay your salary. You work for me. I think it would be best if you leave now. Mrs. Smith, you haven't heard the last of this. I'm going to the school board. I know people. My mother knows a lady who has a friend that goes to the same hairstylist as the superintendent's 3rd cousin. I'm going to tell them what an awful teacher you are and how you pick on Timmy and make him learn too much. You'll never work as a teacher again. I wish that were true. Goodbye, Mrs. Smith.
Something to think about. If you were the teacher in the video, how could you eliminate having that discussion with a parent if you were being proactive in using Collaborize Classroom? You could share the student's progress or lack of with a parent within Collaborize Classroom. It's a forum that holds everybody accountable for the learning. Thank you for watching this video on Collaborize Classroom, an excellent instructional strategy to use in your classroom today.